Aha! Welcome, digital explorers. I'm Professor Aha. When you stream videos or send photos, do you picture your data floating magically through fluffy sky clouds or zooming through space to satellites? Most people do. But the shocking truth is, the cloud is actually wet, deep, and very salty. Sure, high-tech satellites like Starlink sound incredibly futuristic, but they actually carry less than 5% of our global data traffic. They struggle with massive launch costs, space collision risks, orbital debris, and signal lag. The real heavy lifters of our connected world are hidden far beneath the ocean waves. That's right. A staggering 99% of all intercontinental internet traffic travels along the dark, muddy ocean floor. Billions of emails, video calls, and financial transactions zoom across continents in a massive, silent network of cables stretching across major oceans. This subsea superhighway isn't new. It actually started in 1850 with a simple copper telegraph wire laid between Britain and France. By August 1858, the Atlantic was bridged, allowing Queen Victoria and President Buchanan to trade the very first transatlantic instant messages. By 1872, almost every single continent had been linked by these incredible deep-sea lines. Even today, only one frozen continent remains completely isolated without a submarine cable connection. Yes, Antarctica is forced to rely on slow, limited satellite links because of shifting ice shelves. Fast forward to today. There are about 597 active or under construction undersea cables wrapping around the globe. Together, they span a mind-blowing 1.4 million kilometers of ocean floor. That is long enough to wrap around our Earth more than 35 times. In the early days of the internet, these networks were owned by major telecom corporations. But today, the landscape has completely shifted. Tech giants like Google, Meta, Amazon, and Microsoft now own or lease more than half of all global undersea bandwidth to feed our data appetite. You might expect these massive continent-connecting cables to be as thick as tree trunks, but in reality, deep-sea cables are barely wider than a common garden hose, about 2 centimeters thick. Inside this narrow, heavily armored pipe lies the magic, microscopic glass threads. How do they work? They send data using light. Inside the glass, laser pulses bounce off the walls in a process called total internal reflection. This allows digital data to travel at staggering speeds, carrying billions of bits of information down each microscopic thread. But glass is incredibly fragile. To survive the hostile ocean depths, these tiny glass fibers must be shielded like medieval knights. They are wrapped in petroleum jelly, copper tubes, polycarbonate, aluminum water barriers, heavy steel wires, mylar tape, and a thick outer layer of polyethylene plastic. Light signals get weaker the further they travel. So, every 80 to 100 kilometers, special amplifiers called repeaters are spliced into the cable. These titanium-shielded cylinders boost the laser light powered by high-voltage direct current running right through the cable itself. Modern cables are true bandwidth beasts. The Maria cable can carry 224 terabytes of data per second, and tech companies are now building cables that can push half a petabyte per second. That's 500,000 gigabytes of data every single blink of an eye. But the bottom of the sea is one of the most hostile environments imaginable. Undersea cables must withstand absolute pitch darkness, near freezing temperatures, and crushing water pressure that would easily squash a car. It takes incredible military-grade engineering just to keep them from imploding. Mother Nature can be absolutely brutal. Underwater earthquakes, landslides, and volcanic eruptions can snap cables instantly. In 2022, a massive volcanic eruption near Tonga severed the island's only undersea cable, completely cutting the nation off from the rest of the world for weeks. But natural disasters are actually rare. The biggest threat to our global internet is us. Out of roughly 200 cable faults each year, 86% are caused by humans. Specifically, heavy fishing nets scraping the seabed and massive ship anchors dragging along. And yes, there are actual monsters. Sharks have been caught on camera gnawing on undersea cables. Scientists think they are attracted to the weak electromagnetic fields generated by the lines. Google even had to wrap its cables in bulletproof Kevlar-like armor. Beyond physical damage, these cables are at the center of high-stakes global politics. Nations worry about undersea wiretapping, physical sabotage, and digital colonialism. With 99% of data flowing through these lines, controlling the cables means controlling global power. When a cable breaks miles underwater, how do we find it? We don't guess. Shore stations shoot high-speed light or electrical pulses down the wire. By measuring exactly how long it takes for the signal to bounce back, they can locate the break within meters. Once located, specialized cable repair ships rush to the scene. These massive vessels carry miles of replacement cable. They drop marker buoys and lower heavy metal grapples, rigid prongs for sandy bottoms or flexible hooks for rocks, to carefully snag the broken cable from the seafloor. Once retrieved, engineers work in onboard clean rooms to splice the microscopic glass fibers back together with surgical precision. Because the repaired cable is slightly longer than before, the crew carefully lays the excess cable flat on the seabed in a neat U shape. So the next time you send a text, stream a video, or browse the web, remember the massive hidden web of light humming deep under the ocean waves. Hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, and join us next time for more mind-blowing science adventures.